Well, hello, 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 and welcome everyone to Comics and Variety Midday. I hope you are having a very wonderful Wednesday. I know that I am because Tilt Part 2 has reached the 50% mark. Reached it a little earlier this morning, and up to 59 backers now with over a week left in the first part of the campaign. So got to feel pretty darn good about this. Not only that, most of the original art and most of the original or the ways to get drawn into the campaign are still available. So do get on those, or I'm sorry, to get drawn into issue 3 are still available. So do jump on those soon. And backers are always going to be the first to see some new art, and I'm going to have be releasing some new art tomorrow. Specifically, it'll be the King of Clubs, for the special Tilt Part 2 deck of cards. So if you back it now, you'll be one of the first people to get to see that. Alrighty, let's move on to the topic today, which is cancel culture, which I guess I had perhaps naively hoped that when it looked like Biden was going to win the election, and I know for many of you that's still not a foregone conclusion, and I will admit that it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion for me, although I think it's looking worse and worse every day, but that's all right. We will survive. That said, I noticed this article from Monday in Bounding Into Comics that, sorry to say, cancel culture appears to be live and well. Ubisoft has announced that they will be removing the guest appearance of a real-world journalist from Watch Dogs Legion. This is a show that I do not watch, following accusations from fans that she holds transphobic beliefs. All right. A staff writer for American commentary outlet The Atlantic, journalist Helen Lewis, was initially included in Watch Dogs Legion as in-game host of the fictional Buccaneer podcast, which promotes itself as your source for what they don't want you to know. In the podcast, Lewis discusses various social issues related to the game's setting, such as political demonstrations, surveillance states, and what the price of justice means in an ever-evolving police state. Okay. Despite that her in-game discussions are in no way related to transgender issues, some fans took issue with Lewis's appearance in Watch Dogs Legion due to her history of questioning the various elements and goals exemplified within the transgender activist movements. So here we are. We're coming up on nothing surprising so far. You make any comment slightly critical of something like transgender activism, they will and you end up on a TV show or something like that, they will come after you. All righty, but here we are now about to get to what her horrific crime was, so bad that she needed to be removed from the podcast that she did for this particular show. In 2017, actually, maybe it's I don't know, is it a video game? Watch Dogs Legion. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with this. I'm sorry. In 2017, after UK Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn called for changes to be made to the government's Gender Recognition Act, as at the time it did not allow trans people to self-identify their gender, but did force them to undergo invasive medical tests. Lewis shared her concerns regarding what she saw as a radical rewriting of our understanding of identity. Being a woman or a man is now entirely in your head, wrote Lewis. Well, yeah, that's maybe a concern. Okay, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with pointing that out. In this climate, who would challenge someone with a beard exposing their penis in a women's changing room? Good question. Okay, that is one of the problems of the transgender movement, at least taking it to all the way to its kind of logical end. And certainly there have been plenty of efforts by groups like Human Rights Campaign to make sure that bathrooms are gender neutral. That is, that if you identify as a man, if you're a man who identifies as a woman, you can use the women's bathroom. That's why feminists have raised the alarm over the move to self-identification, along with some older trans people who fear that trendsters will erode the goodwill they have worked hard to acquire. In 2009, a 2009 piece for the UK's leading progressive and cultural magazine, The New Statesman, Lewis noted that she held a belief that trans women are women and trans men are men, but defended her position regarding self-ID and its impact on single-sex spaces. This is a tragic story. So she's not even denying. She's not even denying that trans women should be able to identify as women, trans men as men. All she's suggesting is here is that maybe women's bathrooms should be pretty much limited to women, people who have women's private parts. Okay. Quote, "This is a tragic story from start to finish," she concluded. "The imperial overreach of a handful of trans activists in trying to rewrite widely accepted ideas about gender by stealth has done nothing to improve the lives of trans people." The discovery of Lewis's inclusion in Watch Dogs Legion inevitably sparked a massive wave of backlash against Ubisoft. I'm guessing it is a video game, with many criticizing the company for the hiring of a woman they believe was transphobic. Yeah, it is a video game. Okay, well, look at this. It's ironic that it's supposed to be a game about resisting fascism, said Amber Smokes Weed. But they included a transphobic piece of S in it. I mean, wow. I mean, wow. It's just effed. At any rate, she questioned. All she did was challenge. All right, whether or not bathrooms that are nominally for women should allow men in. We should allow men into them. That's what she challenged, and for that she's transphobic. And the activists had a field day, and of course Ubisoft caved and removed her from the video game. So sorry to say, but cancel culture is still alive and well, and is going to be alive and well for quite some time. I'd hoped that we would start to move into kind of a forgiveness culture, but that isn't happening right now, at least not in the immediate foreseeable future. But and I should also note that there is something out there, and I think this was put together by the activist group GLAAD, but I'm not sure. I know they've got some kind of Trump accountability project, but this is the Trump accountability project. Remember what they did. We must never forget those who further the Trump agenda. We should welcome in our fellow Americans with whom we differ politically. Oh, really? But those who took a paycheck from the Trump administration should not profit from their efforts to tear our democracy apart. The world should never forget those who, when faced with a decision, chose to put their money, their time, and their reputations behind separating children from their families. By the way, in 2018, President Trump signed an executive order to reduce family separation. And family separation was something that was started under the Obama administration. Encouraging racism and anti-Semitism, no, they didn't do that. And negligently causing the unnecessary loss of life and economic devastation from our country's failed response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, at any rate. So there's the Trump Accountability Project, which is also part of cancel culture. It means that anyone who is in the Trump administration should now not be able to get a job. More about that here. This was in PJ Media. The left threatens GOP. We have a list, and you'll never work again if you help Trump. This includes people like supposed conservative in the Washington Post, Jennifer Rubin, who explicitly threatens to cancel any Republican making baseless accusations of fraud, among other things. Of course, as per usual, they decide what the meaning of baseless, decide the meaning of baseless. Thank you very much. And of course, we have good old, somewhere in here was yeah, there we go. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee a decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future. So at any rate, the point here simply is that there's also a cancel culture that's going to cancel culture is going to continue. It is, not only are we still seeing it in video games, we are also there's also looks like some type of coordinated effort to go after people who worked in the Trump campaign. So at any rate, I think that's all for today. Again, Back Tilt 2, if you haven't, I'll put a link to it in the description below. And everyone have a nice rest of the day.